Alright, welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry content as well. But we got some craziness going on and wanted to go ahead and jump right into it. So obviously, many of you have heard already, some people have not, but there is a leaked document that was just circulating the internet as of late, and it is dated in the future actually for March 15th, 2022, and what it appears at first sight to be is essentially a Warhammer community article and a potential balanced Dataslate update for the new season of Warhammer 40,000, Nachmund for 40k. So let's take a quick look at it and then we'll discuss it a little bit. So if you haven't seen this yet, we'll take a look through everything and then I'll give you my honest opinion on it. So we see some pretty heavy nerfs in it, some banned and whatnot, but let's take a look at it and then we'll discuss more because chances are many of you probably haven't even seen this yet. I do apologize for the quality of the pictures as they're essentially screenshots of this article that was posted up and then immediately taken down supposedly. So it says March 15th, 2022, so obviously was not supposed to be out yet. We see the typical kind of background for the Warhammer community articles, etc. A little subscribe to Warhammer Plus there on the side. And then it says new limited requisitions in Warzone Nachmund for competitive match play. And then balanced Dataslate underneath. Now, one thing that immediately jumps out to me here is when Games Workshop types Warzone, they always type war space zone. It's not the same as like kill zone or whatever. They don't type it out in one single word like that. So that seems a little fishy. I don't know. We'll see. So this is obviously the most important part of it, but there's one other part as well that has, the internet in an uproar. Again, if you haven't seen this before, we'll go through it and then I'll give you my honest opinion. But obviously at the bottom here, we can see it says Tau Empire Crisis Battlesuits 0 to 1 per army. Tau Empire Crisis Bodyguards 0 to 1 per army. And then Adeptus Custodes Virtus Praetors 0 to 2 units per army. And then the actual text here says, the mighty Tau Empire is one of our newest releases. Unfortunately, the expansion seems to have brought quite a few more Crisis Battlesuits than necessary to the Nachmund Gauntlet. We are looking at Crisis Battlesuits, particularly Crisis Bodyguards, and speaking with the Viola Sept to keep some suits in reserve for the next sphere of expansion. Adeptus Custodes is another one of our newer Codex releases, and in particular it appears that Trajann and the Virtus Praetors have been called back to defend the Holy Terra. With some powerful HQ choices in the new Codex, we feel as if Trajann will not be missed for too long, as this return is assured. For players who are currently using these units, do not worry. Each release of the balanced Dataslate will also include limited requisitions transmission. These units will rotate in and out of Warzone Nachmund, which will make for some exciting new battle reports on Warhammer Plus. So essentially what this is trying to say is that temporarily, at least in the meantime, the Trajann Valoris will be out of your selectable units, and then obviously the limitations on Crisis Battlesuits, Bodyguard units, and Virtus Praetors. Now, again, is this possible? I mean, I suppose anything is possible. Seems very unlikely that they would completely remove Trajann Valoris. They could very easily change the points back to where they were previously or alter some of the rules. And then again, on the Tau Empire units, is it more likely that they would restrict them to 0 to 1 units on the Crisis or the Bodyguards? Or is it more likely that they would alter the points or some kind of rules? Same with the Praetors as well. I think it's much more likely that they would alter the actual rules and maybe like nerf them or something. Possibly they could restrict how many units you would be able to take, but to go to 0 to 1 units seems very, very unlikely. I mean, you want to go to 0 to 1 units, what's the easiest way to just nerf something? Just up the points. So they could literally just add, 25 points or 50 points to every Tau Crisis suit, and then all of a sudden 5 Crisis suits at an extra 25 points would be an extra 125 points. And if you're running 15 Crisis suits, you're talking about 375 points extra you'd have to trim out your army. It just seems much more reasonable. This doesn't seem realistic to me. And then the next post here. So this one, so we see it says limited requisitions here at the top, and then it's talking about dedicated transports. Not every faction in the game fields a large number of transports, but transport-heavy armies have been on the up and up for some time now and have begun to dominate recent tournaments. We are changing the maximum number of transports you can take in an army. We feel the changes will create exciting new opportunities for some armies to take units that are currently not hitting the table. Baneblades, anyone? So the rules team has made up a change to ensure that the transports have more of the support role rather than acting as a spearhead. As such, there's now a cap on the number of dedicated transport models you can field in a match play army. Sorry about the quality on this. Between 2 and 4, depending on the size and game that you are playing. So essentially just saying that there's going to be a limit of 2 in smaller games and 4 in larger games. Again, does not seem realistic at all. So obviously we'd be talking about dedicated transports, not anything with transport capacity. But I just don't think it's realistic that they're going to say, okay, you can only have 4 total transports in your army when there's a bunch of different like transport options in the different armies. So I can't confirm 100%, is this real or is this fake? But do I think it's realistic that they're nerfing a bunch of units like transports, limiting your Tau crisis suits or crisis bodyguards to 1 per army, and saying that you can't take Trajann Valoris at all? No, I think this is fake. So there's a couple small little things in here that kind of like stand out as not being realistic. I mean, it definitely has like the dad humor of like Baneblades, anyone, to make it seem credible or whatever. It definitely has like, some of the little bits that you would see on the Warhammer community website and everything. But again, I just don't think this is real. I can't confirm 100% that it's fake, but to me, and this is why I don't like to normally do videos on this type of thing, like leaks or whatever, this seems like a complete fake, like kind of doctored Photoshop type situation. I mean, it looks similar to what you would typically see from Games Workshop, and obviously they have followed like the Games Workshop template of like, poorly written dad humor and like the little boxes and the random like pictures and everything. But this seems completely fake to me. Again, I can't confirm 100% that it is fake, but it doesn't look real. I mean, it looks close enough that it's like noticeable or whatever, but I just don't see it. I don't think that they would restrict it to 0-1 units. If this was 0 to 2 units, I would maybe believe it, but I don't think they would restrict you to having 1 total crisis unit in your army. Does not seem realistic at all. There are some like random misspelling errors or whatever. That's something that Games Workshop does anyway, so maybe this is a real article. But again, I just don't think it's real. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, also, balanced Dataslates are supposed to come out once per quarter, and we recently got the balanced Dataslate. So if they're supposed to come out once per quarter, it doesn't seem realistic that we would get a new balanced Dataslate right now. It seems more realistic we would get one around, I think the last one came out in February. So I think it would be more realistic we would get it 3 months from February. So it would be like, June? Maybe May, June, somewhere around there. I don't think we would get a new one immediately right after we just got one. So is it possible that it's real? Sure, I suppose. There's a couple things that kind of jump out at me as not being legitimate. But again, I can't confirm one way or the other. I know a lot of people were like, that had seen this were freaking out. There's like a million posts online about it. I just wanted to address it and say, I don't think it's realistic. We have never seen Games Workshop previously completely remove a character from gameplay that's in like an existing range. If anything, I think that they would change the rules, change the points, or like put a flat out like nerf, maybe do both. But we've never seen them do that previously. We have seen them restrict how many of a unit you could take in an army. But again, don't think it's very likely that they would restrict the amount of Veritas Raiders. And again, I don't think most people are taking 3 units of Veritas Raiders. If they are, they're probably taking 3 units of 3. So what is the difference between if you took like 2 units of 5 or whatever? That doesn't actually change anything. And again, with the crisis bodyguards or battle suits, I think it's more realistic they would change the bodyguard rules to address like some of the issues with Trajann, or some of the issues with like crisis suits or commanders or just bodyguards in general, than to completely restrict it like that. So just my opinion. I can't confirm or deny either way or the other. But as far as I'm concerned, this right now, to me, my official, view on this or stance on this is that this is fake. You can argue one way or the other. Maybe it will turn out that it is in fact true, and we'll see that come out in a couple days here. But I don't think this was an accidental leak. I think it was a complete fake article. I think it's total BS, just to like get a rise out of people or get the internet buzzing or whatever. We'll wait and see. Obviously, it could go either way. I will gladly admit that I'm wrong if that seems to be the case or whatever, but just doesn't seem realistic right now at all. They just put out the new Tau Codex. They just put out the Custodes Codex recently. We've seen both these armies obviously very strong and top of the tier ladder, etc. But I just don't think that this is what's going to happen. GW loves to sell their models. Typically doesn't come out and nerf them this quickly, one, and two, doesn't like completely restrict your ability to take them. I can't think of a specific time ever when they have said you can no longer take a model at all in your army. We also have models from the new Eldar Codex that aren't even out yet, so I think they would let that kind of settle in a little bit and see where everything stands. And then also, I don't think they've given the meta an opportunity to adapt to like some of the like Tau stuff or whatever. And realistically, we've seen in the past that whenever like indirect fire or something like that was an issue, all it takes is literally, a ridiculous point hike. So I think 20 points on a crisis battlesuit, or nerfing like smart missile systems, increasing the price of them, or decreasing the range or the strength or whatever it is, would easily just do the same thing. But I think realistically they would just pump the points on all these things, and that's like the easiest way to nerf something that's overpowered. So we'll have to wait and see. The most realistically or unrealistic part of the whole thing, in my opinion, though, is the transports. I don't think dedicated transports are super strong. I don't think they're like ruining the game or anything, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, these transports, there's just too many of them and they're too powerful. It just does not seem realistic to me. So I guess we'll see what happens down the line. We'll find out in a few days if this is true or if it comes out or whatever, but I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't get worked up about it, and I definitely would not worry about it. In the meantime, I wouldn't just throw your crisis suits or Trajann in the trash. I think it's total BS. So again, we see a lot of times it's so easy now to Photoshop something or change a picture or type up your own little article, basically just create a fake screenshot, especially like low res or something like that. In my opinion, that's what this is. This is just a fake little screenshot, low res pictures. Looks like somebody like was scrolling on their phone and randomly saw it and posted it. If anything, if there was like more people came out and said it, but the internet is a big place. There's lots of people that get notifications or watch Warhammer Community all the time. So I think that we would see more than one screenshot of each of these things if it was real. So my official stamp on this is fake until we see otherwise. I will gladly admit that I'm wrong if that so happens to be the case. But the truth is, this looks like a total fraud, phony job to me. I definitely don't think that any of these rules will be in effect. And if we do see another balanced Dataslate, I think it will be like a couple months from now. And obviously we would expect them to address some of the issues, potentially with Custodes, definitely with Tau and indirect fire, maybe with transports. I doubt it. But I think that they will address it with points, not in this way. So with the recent balanced Dataslate, we didn't see any restrictions on units. We definitely didn't see any characters completely removed. It was all points increases and rules changes. So again, I think that's what we would likely see is points increases, rule changes, or something to that effect. Like, if the bodyguard rule is going to be changed, I think it will just be changes to the actual rule. I don't think they'll just say you can't take these bodyguards anymore, you can't have these units anymore, etc. So let me know what you think down below. Did you already hear something about this? Do you have any opinion on this? Does this look real to you? Does it look fake to you? Do you have other pictures that you could provide a link to? I'd be glad to take a look, and maybe I'll be wrong. Gladly admit it in the comments or in a future video. But as far as I'm concerned, just looks like a fake little Photoshop doctor job. Again, we're only seeing like a couple random pictures like this, and then there's a million posts about it, comments, people talking about it, etc. I think we would see the full article. I think we would see more screenshots than this. I think we would see a little more. I mean, why would you screenshot this of all things? I would think, if anything, you would scroll down, eliminate the Custodes picture at the top, because who cares about that? And then you would have all the text, and then the rest of the units down here that we can see like cut off, that would be balanced out. So overall, looks like a good Photoshop job to me. Looks pretty decent, but looks like a fake. So let me know what you think down below. But that is it for today. Looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback. If you enjoy this kind of content, all kinds of reactions, reviews, news, unboxings, and then of course all types of tutorials for how to paint, build, magnetize, convert. And then obviously we're a commission-based studio, so we show off commissions as they go out of house. Make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and of course warcry content as well. I am Warhammer Man. This is Warhammer Man Studios, and as far as I'm concerned, this gets the fake stamp, and I'm out of here.